I've done this once or twice.
We're back at it.
Back at it, man. I gotta get a drink.
Yeah, man. So what's going on?
Oh, dude, I'm trying to remember how a microphone works. It's been, what has this been? I don't even know. When's the last time we did one of these?
Dude.
Yeah, because it was...
I want to say it's been a while.
It's been over a year.
Oh, it's definitely been over a year.
I mean, at least. That's the easy math. It's been over a year.
Right. So tell me what's been going on with you.
I think I did the math last night with Michael Wu, and I'm probably the brown belt that does 3 classes a week that is forever chasing this black belt because I'm teaching more than I'm training right now. So I'm sure if Professor Hedgie hears this, he'll be like, show up to classes and he'll eventually get that, which I'm totally fine with. This isn't a plea for a black belt. This is just the funny math we were doing last night.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah, so you've been teaching the morning classes.
Dude.
And evening on Mondays, right?
Monday evenings, yeah. So doing that, it's great. Love that class. But the Monday morning and the Thursday mornings that's where it's at. You know,
yeah.
It's a fun class. You wake up, get the blood going, and then.
And you have your core group of guys that come to that class.
Yeah, we've got we've got probably 4 consistent guys, 6 part of that group. But it always fluctuates. One guy's out of town, work, or whatever it is. But I think the most we've had at one particular class is like 8 or 9. So for 6 a.m., I think that's great. Cool. Been doing that for a year and a half. Is that what that class has been going now?
Yeah, it's been going for a while.
Yeah. So.
What do you like best about that class?
Just the freedom, man. Just that's what it always comes down to is what do we get to do? Thursdays is no gi. It's unofficial no gi. But it's the only class we get to do that in. So the freedom of just like, what do you guys want to work on this morning? And then, we don't really have to, we stay on curriculum in the sense of like the Gracie Baja, like what are we working on this week? Side control. But if somebody really has something that they want to work on, we don't have 15, 20 people that's like, okay, this is not for everybody kind of thing. We don't have to single anybody out to not, solve a problem, I guess.
So that is probably, I think, one of the biggest differences between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the traditional martial arts.
Yeah.
I guess you can kind of lump wrestling in there too. There's no set curriculum.
Sure. Yeah.
And I've heard there's a coach, Perler is his last name. He actually runs a camp. It's his full-time job. That's what he does. It's not connected to a high school. It's a camp that kids go to kind of work on their wrestling.
Okay.
And he had made a statement saying it's funny how you get these young kids that are working on like Russian ties and all these complicated or kind of more robust kind of positions.
Yeah.
And then you got these older veterans that don't, like, they're working on like a quarter Nelson.
Sure. Yeah.
And he said his frustration was that there's no curriculum to wrestling. And although there's some basics that you would expect,
right.
A seasoned coach would just kind of single leg, double leg, high C, a half Nelson, chicken wing or whatever the hell you guys.
Low single, yeah.
Whatever you call it. What you guys call it, a chicken wing? Or?
Chicken wing, I got hit with chicken wing several times.
Okay, because some people call it different. It's a wrestler's arm bar, a wrestler's arm bar, some people call it.
Every time
we call it a chicken wing.
Yeah, every time Timmy would give me a chicken wing when we fight against I can't remember what school he wrestled for. I just remember the kid's name was Timmy, and he would always hit it on me.
Timmy had a chicken wing.
And I would always succumb to getting pinned with it. Yeah. So it's a chicken wing.
And that's one of the biggest criticisms that you would hear is like, well, jiu-jitsu doesn't have a curriculum. But that's kind of what I always thought kind of the cool thing about it, because depending on what kind of school you went to, depending on what they concentrated on and what you did, and these guys did that, those guys did this. But I think for the populace, when you're trying to get jiu-jitsu out to quote everyone, they want a curriculum.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I guess it's the Gracie Baja way, especially it's a family environment. It's for everybody to train. Right. So we need a curriculum so that way everybody gets a piece of it.
Well, the thing is, other programs are not changing to that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like, I want to say, was it George Gergel? Not George Gergel. The founder of Alliance. Oh my God. Fabio Gergel.
Okay, Fabio. Gotcha.
There was an interview with him, and he talked about this development of a curriculum for Alliance. So, and you talk to guys that have opened up their own gyms, and they come up with their own curriculums because they know that's kind of where that's where the sport is headed.
Sure.
And even now, when we're talking about wrestling, even the coach that I work with at the middle school, we have kind of our curriculum that we want guys to have as their basics, and so this is kind of a newer concept. But
you've been doing this long enough, though. You know the sauce, like the secret sauce. It's like you have your methodologies and things. That
right.
You know the curriculum is the thing that helps people stay in line.
It does.
Learning.
It does.
So,
it does. And you kind of hit all those major aspects of. And what makes it tough in jiu-jitsu is there's so many goddamn different positions.
Oh my god. Being a coach now, I'll teach something. I'm like, dude, Professor Hedgie showed me this 3 years ago, and I just now understand what I'm teaching to these other guys. I'm like, man, I was an idiot 3 years ago. So I was like, I put my leg where, man? And I was like, oh, now I see. These guys are doing the same thing I was doing at that point in time.
So you touched on, you just mentioned something, you kind of touched on indirectly on a point, and that's kind of the cornerstone of what we're talking about today. You said teaching, but then you interchangeably used the word coach.
Yeah, right. That's
and I've done a YouTube, like a little tiny after workout YouTube video on it. Like there are no other sports that we call our coach a teacher, right?
Yeah, I mean, football, it's a coach.
It's a coach.
Wrestling is a coach, although I feel if we deep dive more into that, a wrestling coach can also be a teacher.
Well, I think coaching is kind of broken down into two different things. There's coaching for skill acquisition and there's coaching for competition.
Yeah.
And I mean, the prime example of this, if you want to take the pinnacle of sport, I believe the pinnacle of sports in the United States, the most researched, scientifically approached, vetted sport that's out there, and as far as developing athletes, is the NFL.
Sure.
Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah.
You probably could argue that back and forth.
You could, but because they're the biggest conglomerate when it comes to sports.
Right, because there's other sports where weightlifting's an option, right? Conditioning's an option.
Sure.
But it's a part of what you do as a footballer, right?
Right.
As a football athlete, that's what you do.
It's required.
And the different positions that you play, they all have different coaches.
Right.
But are they coaches or are they teachers?
Yeah.
Because they're coaching you in skill acquisition.
Right.
And the competition coaches, the guys that are making the plays come Saturday, Friday in high school, Saturday in college, Sunday in professional, those are the coordinators. They're not out there on the grass with the athletes picking and nagging them about things that they're doing right or doing wrong. They might come around and give assignments like, hey, Bob, 23 is not, he's been missing blocks, is weak on his right side. Can we start working on his step out or whatever it may be? Hey, your guards aren't pulling strong enough. Y'all got to work on some pulling drills this week. The coordinator, maybe at the high school level, the coordinator is also the acquisition skill coach.
Sure.
But at the higher levels, no, they're on completely different pages. They're not on different pages, but they have different jobs.
Yeah, their job's different.
But every sport, they call it a coach across the board. And there's gyms where they do say coach,
right,
across the board. But when you're talking just the average jiu-jitsu academy, I'm going to class.
Right.
I'm not going to practice.
Yeah, you're going to class.
My teacher.
Yeah.
So that brings into question the difference between teaching and coaching, because they're two completely different skill sets.
Yeah. I
mean, 100%. You might be a great teacher, but you might suck as a coach, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, you might suck at both.
Yeah. that
so what are some of the key qualities as far as teaching do you think you need to bring to the table to be a good teacher?
Sure. Let's start with the raw definition in my mind of a coach versus a teacher. I was having this conversation, I think it was with Trey and Michael. Being a coach that's the person that molds you into something pliable that a specialist can nail down. Kind of like we were just saying about a coordinator. Coordinator's a specialist. That's the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
As a teacher in jiu-jitsu, I look at it as I'm trying to be the guy that looks at every single little cog that goes into the big machine of a move, and I want to teach you each one of those cogs. Right. As a coach, I'm like, this is an arm bar. Here's the 3 steps to an arm bar. But as I become a teacher, as most people said about you, and as you go to your GB2 classes with Professor Hedgie, the way he approaches it at that point, he becomes a teacher and says, okay, here's the very specific lines that go into this story.
Okay,
right?
So in your mind, it's more of a detail. Yeah,
it's a detail thing to me.
Yeah.
Is how the approach, right, on the
Okay.
surface level is. A coach is somebody who's here's raw information, do what you want with it. Let's see how good you are. And a teacher goes, here's where you suck. This is what we need to do to make you not suck, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of break it down into whether it's skill acquisition or competition, because I kind of isolate that term coach, and just as my mind, that term coach, as in the way I differentiate it is what skill set do I need to teach somebody movement? Because I mean that's essentially what you're saying when you're saying breaking down an armbar, the ins and outs, the strategies to it, the setups to it. That's all teaching. You're just teaching movement,
right? Yeah.
Just like if you were teaching a sprinter how to get out of the blocks, you're teaching movement. Now it's movement geared towards combat. But so people think it's different, but it's still movement.
Right.
It's in response to another body. It's in a response to a lot of different things, but it's still at the end of the day you're teaching movement.
Sure.
And then I look at the coach as far as how do we help this person, this athlete, during a time of competition.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot other than the psychology of dealing with the athlete for skill acquisition versus competition that have a lot of crossover, right? Because your communication when you're teaching somebody, when you're trying to do it, when you're showing them movement, it's a little different.
Sure.
You know, it's got to be person specific. You know how they respond. But in coaching, I'll give you an example. Some of the things in coaching are so important that you don't even think about in teaching. Time management.
Right.
You know, I was told there's only 3 things as a coach you ever need to worry about. Now, I don't think this is necessarily true. I think this was a dumbed down, simplistic way of saying, because how this came to me was that I had my kickboxing coach when I was really young. Started teaching when I was a freshman in high school, so I was either 13 or 14 years old.
Okay.
And we would go to competitions and take guys to events. And my coach told me, he said, "Hey, you're a great teacher, but you suck as a coach."
Interesting.
And he said, when you're out there, your job as a coach is not to tell everyone else in the arena what you know. You're saying a lot of stuff that's wasted. Yes, we know, I'll break it down to jiu-jitsu rather than kickboxing, but how many coaches have you seen that go, "There's the triangle,
oh my God,
there's the Kimura.
I hate that so much.
He's in on the single leg, Bobby.
Yeah.
He's on single leg, Bobby."
In training, that's okay because you're helping both guys learn.
Right.
Hey, there's the triangle if you didn't see it. Yeah. Also, you defending it, it's about to come your way because now I'm yelling it. So that's fine. But out of the...
It's almost like color commentating to let everybody know how much they know.
Right, yeah.
And so he would say dumbing it down, the 3 things that you need to worry about, the only 3 things, is time management. How much time does your athlete have? Because the amount of time that's on the timer is going to dictate what their tactics should be.
Yeah, where in the game plan am I right now?
Right. How far behind are you? You're behind with 10 seconds? That's completely different than being behind with 2 minutes.
Right.
Totally different.
And being up. I mean,
yes, and being up.
It's both sides of the coin, for sure.
That is intertwined. There's a symbiotic relationship between time and points. Where are you on the scoreboard? And so if you're not aware of the score, if you're not aware of the time, how can you give them good advice at that point?
Sure.
And that leads into the third thing, is very concise, specific instructions. So those concise, specific instructions, that's where you have a little bit of that bleed over to teaching.
Sure. Because
there might be certain code words that setups, things that it really doesn't help. I don't believe it helps when you yell out, "There's the Kimura."
No, it does not.
How many times have you been competing and you don't even know you're in a bad position? Hey Bobby, his elbow's up.
Yeah.
Get to his arm. And you're like, "Oh shoot, my elbow's up."
Right, yeah. I know I've said this off this podcast before.
Forgive my southern accent.
Yeah. That was a great southern accent. I know I've said it to you before, but like the way you coach in competitions before is very you need to put your right hand on your thigh and do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
That's a universal language everybody speaks. I think just the Kimuras there, that doesn't tell me anything. Where is
Right.
that? Is it this arm? Is it that arm?
Right.
Maybe I'm upside down. Maybe I'm underwater and I don't know where the surface is right now.
Right.
That doesn't help me. But if you say, hey, if you move your left hand and pull under right now, that gives me something to go off of.
Those are the specific, concise instructions you will find. I wish I could put like a percentage on it. I'm just gonna pull one out.
Sure.
Less than 5%.
Yeah. We can.
How many times have you heard, "Hey Bobby, get up, Bobby, yeah. Bobby, gotta get up, dude. You gotta get up, gotta get up." There's a great video of this coach yelling at this guy in a cage.
Okay.
While the guy's on top of him.
Is his name Bobby?
Yeah, we're gonna make a Bobby for this time. Bobby, just get up, Bobby. And it's actually a girl, and she looks over and she's like, "You don't think I want to get up right now? I'm trying my damnedest to get up."
Right.
And there's times that we specifically with the kids we'll tell them up, because they know what I mean by up, because it's a scramble.
Sure.
And they know when I mean up, they mean get their hips up, get their head up.
Right.
But you have to tell somebody, "All right, bud, I need you on your right hip, and I need your right hand on the mat." Mm-hmm. Okay, now shift your weight. The biggest thing is knowing how shift differential works. A lot of times somebody wants to stand up, they need to free out their right leg. Mm-hmm. That means you have to tell them, "All right, buddy, put all your weight on your left knee. Get all your weight on your left knee.
Right.
I need more weight on the left. Drop your shoulder, drop your left shoulder. Drop it. Okay, now lift the right leg." Now it comes up.
Right.
Because then they've made the leg weightless, they can move it now.
Sure.
But by simply telling them, get up,
it's useless.
they want to get up.
Yeah, we know that's this common goal here. Like
So
coach is like,
so concise, specific instructions.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's some argument to, I think that's a very dumbed down approach to coaching. I think it's a good initial approach: time, score, concise, specific instructions. And whether those are code words or not, with the kids, we have plenty of code names. Sure. We don't typically say the exact move, for exception of a few moves. Mm-hmm. We have words that we've used, or series. We might tell them a series that we practiced, and it has kind of a code word to it.
Okay.
And so, like for instance, for wrestling, for you guys that don't know, in folk style wrestling, when you are in control of your partner on the ground, you are not allowed to lock your hands. Mm-hmm. The biggest mistake that I see middle school and high school wrestling coaches make is when, this is hilarious, and I've made it too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we've all done it and said, "Wow, I got to stop doing that." When we see our athlete who's on top lock their hands, what do we say?
You call them out, "Don't lock your hands."
Don't lock them, baby, don't lock them. Mm-hmm. And then what does the ref do?
Yeah, it's okay, now there's...
So they get their penalty, yeah, all right. So we have code word for that. Mm-hmm. And I actually got that from Beasley, jailbreak.
Oh, nice, jailbreak, okay.
So jailbreak, yeah. And they know, oh shoot, my hands are touching. But again, that's the crossover between teaching and coaching. That gets developed in the teaching arena, or the coaching of skill acquisition, getting that stuff down, and then you bring it onto the mat, and you're not alarming I have a code word for reaping. I don't say, "Hey, watch the reap." That's the worst thing in the world.
Sure, that's gonna get you DQ real quick.
Yeah, so I would advise everybody to have a code word for stalling.
Oh yeah.
You cannot just tell somebody to go stall. So
mine's not PG at all.
So yeah. So that's not good, but it's a strategy.
Yeah.
It's a strategy, right?
Yeah.
So as a good coach, you kind of predict these things, and you come up with ways of approaching it that keep your athlete out of hot water.
Sure. Yeah.
Unnecessarily put them in a bad situation. So that time, score, specific, concise instructions, super important. But you can't forget about safety.
Yeah.
Like, so, and that comes up to a little bit of a debate. And I had this conversation with another coach that was, I don't want to get into the specifics of it, because if I do,
what's his name? No.
if I do, I don't want to call him out. Because
Sure.
I think ultimately this was a mistake on his part. He'll probably never admit it was a mistake, but there was some things that went behind the scenes for a particular athlete, and just kind of got her into a situation she didn't need to be in.
Mm.
We
Am I aware of the situation? I feel like I'm aware of the situation, but we'll carry.
I hate talking in code. I don't want to put the athlete on the spot. I don't want to take him on the spot because I think he's sincerely remorseful for what happened, but I don't know for sure.
The details don't matter to the listeners. It's just a matter of like, here's a story. Here's a story.
There's an athlete that he felt should have been a higher rank, kind of called the situation out. And I never brought it up. He brings it up to me one day, and I just told him, "You're in the wrong."
Okay.
And
fair enough.
And we had a very collegial conversation about it. Kind of, it was.
Okay.
And he said, "Well, if it was your athlete, wouldn't you be worried about their safety? Because it's very unfair from a safety perspective to have this person with all this experience up against somebody who doesn't." And I think in the realm of jiu-jitsu, safety is not your responsibility as a coach. It's the referee's responsibility. We don't have a towel that you can throw in.
Yeah.
This is not a boxing match.
Sure.
If you're a boxing corner in, yes, the safety of your fighter is 100% your responsibility. And I can argue on the kid level, if I see my kids in a situation, I'm going to scream tap, tap, or go out on the mat if I think that the referee is completely incompetent. So you have to be careful at these smaller tournaments. Now, I've never had to do that, but I've been prepared in my mind. What do I do if one of my little guys is out there and this ref is just, honestly, I haven't seen it. And the tournaments that I have seen that the referees are somewhat suspect, we just don't go to those.
That's exactly what I was about to say. We don't go to the tournaments that generally have referees that aren't competent.
Yeah. And that's a dynamic thing, right? You can have a, I'll tell you right now, AGF, in my opinion, the American Grappling Federation does an amazing job.
Yeah. They
really do. I mean, that's been my experience. There might be people out there arguing, but it's a dynamic thing. If Brandon, the owner of that organization, doesn't keep up on that, I can't tell you where they're going to be in 2 years, but I can tell you where they are now. They have pretty good confidence that their refs do a really good job.
Yeah.
Kid gets in a bad position, gets his arm extended, they call it, they stop.
Yeah.
You don't need to have at the younger levels the kid tap. You got stuff in a bad position. It's happened to Jackson when he was young. He got caught in an arm bar, he didn't tap. And he came off, he's like, "What just happened?" And I go, "No, dude, your safety. He was looking out for it."
Yeah.
So there is a certain degree of safety that is your responsibility outside the timing, the points, and the very concise, specific instructions. But what about the psychology?
Oh, man. That's okay, so your definitions and my definitions are slightly different, but I think we have the same intent, right? You're coming at it from a competitor versus we'll just say a hobbyist, right?
Yep.
You being a go-to coach, it's pretty much you and Hedgie are the head two, and Professor Carly, but I don't feel like she goes to the competitions as much, so we'll just say you and Hedgie for right now. You are the competition coaches. Me being I'm there for like the 6 a.m. and then the Monday kind of GB1 people. I don't look at everybody as competitors.
Right.
Because I'm like, I don't know if any of you either have that in you or want to have that in you.
Sure.
So I look at it as you're somebody who just wants to get serious, right? So when you say competitor, in my mind, from my position, those are the serious people.
Right.
So for me, that psychology is who has the mindset to be good at this, and then who has the mindset to, I just want to show up and have fun. That's kind of like where I look at, from me as a coach or a teacher, what mode am I in right now? Because from my headspace is, am I dealing with somebody who just is here to kind of maybe lose some weight, have some fun, learn an armbar, cool, awesome, great, and then they go home and they could care less about jiu-jitsu after that. They don't watch the YouTube videos, they don't listen to this podcast.
I don't like these people.
So
no, I do.
Yeah, of course, it's all fun and games. But then we have our other people that are like, they eat, live, and breathe this sport.
I like these guys.
Yeah, those are the guys. I mean, those are the people we like to surround ourselves with. So from the psychology aspect is, I now have to be mentally prepared for somebody asking those questions. Hey, what comes up when I do X, Y, or Z?
Right.
So if I'm not mentally prepared for that in that teaching mode, to me that's teaching mode, and it's like, well, now I'm just back to the coach. I'm like, let's work on that 3-step arm bar again.
Right. Yeah, so I think the psychology is something that kind of crosses the lines between teaching and coaching. I'm sure that adults go through it. I think kids have such a, it's funny, probably the adults, in my mind, they probably go through the same thing that kids go through. They just don't see it as much.
I think it depends on if they've done these things before in the past, like sports-wise, right?
Yeah.
Did you wrestle before? We have a new guy, and I'm so sorry if you have listened to this podcast. I don't know his name because I'm terrible with that. I don't know you are too. Until
the new guy who wrestles.
Yeah. Until they get the joke is, and this may not be a joke. I've known you so long, I don't even know if it's true or not at this point. But you don't learn people's names until they get a blue belt.
You sound like one of my colleagues I work with. I was like, I don't. Until the nurse has been here for 2 years, I don't pay attention. And that's not true. He knows everyone's name. He just acts like a hard ass.
Sure. Yeah.
But
gotta put up that facade.
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, this new guy comes in, and it was his first class with me. I think it was his second class period, and I was like, "You a wrestler?" He's like, "Yeah," and I was like, I could just tell, man. You have the look about you and everything. He's like, "Oh, thanks." You know, I took it as a compliment, which is good. Not everybody takes that as a compliment for some reason, but it's like you look a little beat up in life, and it just means you. we all have that look, but yeah, I don't even remember where I was segueing off of, to be honest.
Just the psychology of what the different people go through.
Yeah, so him being a new guy comes into the class, and just his mindset, being his second class. You can already tell he's somebody he'll probably be here. He's not going to get
right.
Now, it's only his second class. I could be completely wrong about him, but he already comes in with that grit, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And I think being able to identify that and figuring out how to connect with those people, specifically from a competition standpoint, there's some people that before need certain types of motivation and certain type, like for instance, Eli. I never have Eli. Like Jackson, I can pull Jackson over and I go, "Hey, guy, you got these next two guys in your bracket. Let's watch their matches." I never do that with Eli.
Oh, okay.
The psychology of that messes that kid up. And the best part about it is he has awareness of it. He knows.
Sure.
And for me, that was very counterintuitive from wrestling. We always watch, hey, who's my guy? So I carried that over into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I knew that. I used to watch when I was kickboxing. If I knew some guy that was in my weight class was fighting that event I wasn't at, I'm going.
Yeah.
I want to see him.
You want the tapes?
I want him to see me there. I want to get the psychology. I want to get into his head a little bit.
Okay.
And then I want to see, the goods and the bads of what he does.
I gotcha.
What he likes.
Sure.
Because this is before YouTube.
Yeah, right. But I mean, that's the tape, right?
But he's one of those kids that he gets too nervous and
Eli. So what I was about to ask you is, and I could be wrong in this, but I feel like Eli is the emotional one, right? Whereas Jackson's the very, he's doing the math in his head, the logical,
Yeah.
Because I'm an emotional person. I'm very emotional. Granted, I'm not saying Eli doesn't do the math. Obviously, very smart, talented kid.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's more likely to lead with the heart than the head first.
Yes.
And I think that is, when we talk about psychology, that's the danger of a sport like this, or wrestling, is letting the heart speak more so than the head. Now, it's not a courage or finishing a match thing. Obviously, he's got the grit in the heart, but your nerves start playing. You feel the heart flutter. You're like, oh man, and then that gets to the head. And it's like, can I do this? Is that guy bigger than me? Man, he looks strong. And that's where that gets in. Whereas if you start from the head down, it's like, all right, I'm awesome. I'm gonna kick this guy's ass. And then it's like you feel a little nervous, and you're like, all this happened first. You're already in the right mindset.
Right.
So
that's pretty perceptive of you, because that is exactly how they are.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly. Jackson's just like, okay, well, strategically wise, how do I beat this guy?
Yeah.
And Eli's like, I don't want to see it. I'm gonna go out there and smash. But if I look at this guy, I'm gonna be too nervous before.
Yeah.
So knowing that psychology, I think, is a vital part of being a coach, and knowing how to handle each one of your individual athletes. Before, during, I mean, there's certain matches I don't say a whole lot. If I know my athlete, I know Jackson, I don't say a whole lot during his matches.
Right.
He used to need some encouragement, like, hey, you're good, baby, you're good, perfect, I like it, we're looking sweet right there, I like that. Now he doesn't need that anymore.
He's got the confidence.
Yeah, he just needs the specific instructions. Yeah. Hey, bud, watch out. I want you to watch right side, watch out. It's in the red. And that's what he needs at this point.
Sure.
But there's certain kids that, they're going to be defeated if they're taken down. Hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy, it's okay, buddy. We're good. We're good right here. We're only down by 2. We're good. And that some of those kids need that psychology.
Sure.
And there's a few out there that need tough love.
Oh yeah, that's
gotta get your crap together. I don't know where. That's few and far between, and I just don't enjoy coaching those. If I see that type of kid that only responds to that, which is few and far between. Because I think most kids, like adults, just need love, attention. But man, there's some sadistic people that just they respond to that tough love. I don't enjoy it. That's not a part of my coaching ability and my downfall, because I can't identify that and jump into that.
Yeah, it's a very old school, in my opinion, a very old school way of, I'm just gonna get in your ass and you're gonna just, I'm gonna light that fire and you're gonna go. Whereas I think now, as we've evolved in every sport, in every aspect, it's okay. This is a human being. They need me to speak to them as a human being, not, an animal that I'm punishing that's below me, not that I think that, by the way, I have a dog, love it. But it's, it's that aspect of just kind of like you're treating them kind of like farm animals, they're working for you. And it's like, no, dude, like you gotta speak to me like I'm a person. Yeah. It's a job thing too, not just sports. Like, you get managers that are like that. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing, man? That's not how you're going to get me to perform.
Right. Very, very few people are going to respond to that. So why make that a part of your toolbox of being a coach when it's less than like 5% of the people that are going to respond like that? Just forget that psychology altogether.
Right.
And that comes to the psychology we said before during the match, and then maybe most importantly afterwards, because that's where guys make or break. And that is the one. During, God, it's probably a mistake all the way around. You just, I want to say the dad coaches, and I hate that because that's what I am. I'm a dad coach.
Yeah, sure.
But I've seen some egregious post-coach, just that post-match discussions. They're not in discussion. It is.
You see the sternness in their face, and almost even.
I have talked to one dad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been doing this for as far as just coaching in general for a long time.
Sure.
I usually keep my mouth shut. I normally say, I'm the coach, you're the parent as you wish, and I'm the coach.
Sure.
I've had to talk to one person one time.
Gotcha.
And the bottom line is, after a match, when a kid has already gotten his ass beaten, and things didn't go his way, and especially if the psychological coaching during the match was very negative.
Sure.
The coach yelling out like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh my God, Billy! Like, we can't let that, Billy. What are you? Do you want to win this match, Billy?
Yeah.
Do you want to win it?" And, it's just the kid's beaten down at that point, and as they step off the mat, for them to get grilled, that is not for the athlete.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That's for the coach is doing that to satisfy whatever type of anger they have inside of them.
Right.
I remember when Jackson got caught, both Professor Reggie and I were at it was like a NAGA event. It was just some small little event. And Jackson's like running through everybody. And he faces this kid, and he gets caught with the most basic armbar. It wasn't even that it was a basic armbar. This kid put it on so goddamn slow. It was like foot on the hip, leg over the shoulder.
Yeah. Like
got the angle
in the basics class, just like running through the motions. Yeah.
And so he gets caught in this, and he comes off. I looked at Professor. He looks at me, and we're just like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
And Jackson comes off, and you can see the look on his. I said, "We'll just talk about it later, man.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it later. Don't worry. We'll get it. I love seeing you out there. I love seeing you out there. Just get ready, because you got to fight." And he did. He got to fight that kid like it was in gi after that.
Yeah.
And then whooped his ass after. But
he might not have whooped his ass though if you had a different conversation. After.
Yeah, that wasn't the time to have that conversation.
Yeah,
that wasn't the time to go, dude. Do you not know how to see an armbar coming from a mile away?
Yeah.
And then how much is that my fault for not giving him specific instructions? Get your shoulder through, square back up with him.
Yeah.
So it's
if it was that slow, you had time as a coach to call out and be like, "Hey man, stand up," or whatever,
But how many wrestling coaches have you seen in your career?
Yeah.
That once the guy comes off the mat.
Oh man. I feel like wrestling. That's why you tell people like wrestling breaks you down, builds you back up. That happened after every single match. I didn't win a lot, I feel personally like I'm a better coach or teacher than I am a wrestler or jiu-jitsu competitor, right? Like it's just. I love the game. I will always enjoy this game, but I feel like I perform better off the mat than I do on the mat, right? I get in my head, overanalyze, whatever. So as a wrestler, I would do that, overanalyze, not make the right moves, come off, and I just get chewed the fuck out after every minute. I'm like, what are you, like, yeah, I screwed up. It's very obvious what I did wrong. I know this. I'm doing the math in my head as it's happening. You're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, you know? Why? Why do we do that? Why do wrestling coaches specifically do that?
I always said that and obviously jujitsu is a huge part of what I do. I always say like being a doctor is a hobby, and
it's a nice
jujitsu
hobby.
is my lifestyle.
Yeah,
and I love jujitsu,
sure.
but it's hard for me to ever say wrestling isn't the greatest sport on the face of the earth as an organized sport.
Sure.
And with that being said, I hate it because of the parents and the coaches.
Yeah, they will ruin it.
Easily. I hate it because of the parents and the coaches. The majority, I am so lucky at the program that I coach at that I'm surrounded by two wonderful, caring coaches who put the development of the athlete over wins and losses.
Yeah.
And then people will say, well, that's because you're a loser. And I will tell you that we changed that program around to never winning a match to winning our first 2 dual meets last year. So we're on the road, and you can say all that you want, that losers take that point of view, but I'd rather be a loser with my record and yet have athletes that have ways of dealing with life later on.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that if you teach them the right things, that they'll be champions on the mat.
Yeah.
And you guys will have a reflection of a winning record, not because that was your goal. It was because you wanted to develop good people, and the byproduct of that is champions.
Yeah.
And it'd be one thing if I was 18 years old making that statement, but being almost 50 years old, being in competitive combat sports, essentially my entire life, and seeing that formula work, because the competition career is a very small window.
Very.
So what are we doing as coaches? We are truly trying to develop good people. We're trying to develop good people that are going to deal with some crazy shit later on in their lives. They're going to deal with death, God forbid addiction. They're going to deal with loss of job. They're going to deal with their life going in a spiral. And if they can at least use the tools that we've taught them at one point in their life to get themselves, but that's the end product of coaching and teaching and all of that. So the psychology post-competition is ginormous. Yeah. And Scott Shipman, if you have ever heard of him, he was an amazing, absolutely amazing collegiate wrestler. This guy was amazing. Honestly, you gotta look him up. He's a unique individual. Okay. And he fought MMA. He was at the Hammer House with Mark Coleman.
Okay, yeah.
I think he only lost one match, and that was to Chael.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think it was his last match in the WEC, maybe. I don't think it was in the WEC, but anyways, Chael, I think, was his only loss, and I might have that wrong, but and I've had the opportunity to coach alongside with him, and we had talked about coaching parents, or just parents in general living vicariously through their
sideline coaches, you mean? Coaching parents, sideline coaches.
Sideline coaches.
Yeah.
And how I've always thought the parents that tend to be pretty venomous and caustic in the way that the psychology of coaching on their side seem like they're living vicariously through their kids.
Oh, for sure.
And I find that, at least at the levels I've been at, that the best coaches were the ones that accomplished enough in their career and they were satisfied.
Sure. Yeah.
They're like, hey, I did it. I had my time. It went great. Or maybe it didn't, but I still feel good about what I did with my career.
Right.
And I found that the funny thing was, he said that sometimes he likes other people coaching his kids. He likes to separate himself from it. Okay. Which I used to be like that a lot until Professor Reggie just kind of like, I'm like, hey, do you want to coach? He's like, no, they'll understand you better. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. And then the relationship blossomed. But I found that he says the exact same thing I say to not just my kids, but all my athletes. I love seeing you out there. Yeah. Thanks, brother. That was awesome. Yeah. Oh, I did terrible coach. Yeah, I know. It's okay. We're gonna talk about it later. Sure. Yeah. We're gonna talk about it later. This isn't the time to talk about it. Yeah. We're gonna regroup. We're gonna talk about it later. But for right now, man, you stepped out there. That was amazing. Yeah. And even if they had a breakdown moment where, because really, what's the worst thing that can happen to an athlete is, from the psychological perspective, is that they freeze.
Mm-hmm.
They stand there like a deer in the headlights,
Yeah.
and they get submitted within 10 seconds,
Get
right?
locked
Or they
up
get pinned and whatever.
Sure.
It's awesome, man. You got to experience the trauma of life.
Yeah. That's a good
You
one.
got to
Yeah.
experience freezing up. You got to experience your boss yelling at you and you knowing what the response is, but not being able to spit it out. You got to experience dealing with a snap decision and not making the right one.
Yeah.
Great, man. Now,
You
this
survived.
is going to happen to us a few more times.
Yeah.
It probably is. But it's going to happen to us less and less and less and less the more that we experience. That was a beautiful thing. I can't wait to see you back out there again.
Yeah.
Let's conquer that. You know, so I think when parents are emotionally invested in their kids and they're seeing this as a reflection of their whole being, whether it's a scholarship they're never going to get, and they're coming to reality that your child sucks. Because think about it, the majority of kids, 50% of kids out there suck.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Askren had it on there one time about, like, don't push your kids to get a scholarship out of wrestling. Like, it's not going to happen. If it does, that's great.
No.
But, like, let them enjoy the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Let them make something of themselves out of it. If they don't, they don't. Let them enjoy it, though. Because
Right.
you're going to ruin them by forcing them to do this or making them feel like they're not good enough to do it.
Right.
That's not how you get scholarships out of wrestling. Or any sport for that matter. But that's, Askren's obviously a wrestler, so.
Yeah, and I had that conversation with the parents at the beginning of the season. Typically, it's like, you know, we're here to build good people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I find it very sad, those parents that, whatever sport it is, that they push the kids and hoping that there's some gold at the end of the rainbow. Now, if that's the kid's goal.
Mm-hmm. That's different, though.
Yeah,
that's
like Eli's
exciting, right?
Eli's, hey dad, hey big man. I'm like, what? What's up? Go wrestle at Penn State.
Nice.
I go, okay, you want to wrestle at Penn State? I go, if you want to wrestle at Penn State, I got to get you to a prep school.
Yeah.
So do you want to go to a prep school? He's like, what do you mean? I go, nobody from the South wrestles at Penn State.
No.
If you really want to do this, I got to do some research and we got to get you to a prep school and you got to, What do you mean prep school? You mean I got to move? I'm like, yeah.
That's what it takes.
He's like, oh, no, I'm cool. I'm like, all right, man. All right, you cool? I'm cool.
Did he ask about Iowa after that, or he just...
Oh, no, it's Penn State or nothing. You know.
Okay,
I mean, Iowa's on his radar just because of Spencer Lee, but that's about it.
Yeah.
You know, he's a funny kid. You know, I mean, it's just like, I'm like, listen, brother, if you want to win states, that's your decision, not my decision.
Yeah.
If you do and you say this is my goal, and you want to commit to that, then we're in that realm of pushing you. Then we're in that realm of you really want to do this.
You're there to reignite the fire when it starts.
You want to do this? This is what we got to do. Does that excite you or does that deter you?
Yeah. Oh,
that's cool. I just like to wrestle for fun. I'm like, okay, man. Yeah, and feel free to change your mind at any time.
Yeah.
It's all right. But, you know, I think if a kid says, I want to get a wrestling scholarship, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But it's another thing that the parents pushing them to say, you need to do this.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing. From a coaching, or it was just turning into more of a parent psychology thing. So on the flip side of it, how about the coach's responsibility for the opponent's psychology? Mm-hmm. Dirty or not dirty?
So I'll circle back just because I did want to say one thing about Professor Heggie.
Yeah.
With you talking about, hey, it was just, good to see you out there in the mats kind of thing. And I remember we went to Memphis for IBJJF, and I lost a match. And I looked over at Heggie, and I could just see on his face, he was just like, it's the disappointment of a father figure.
Yeah.
Because we're all kind of his kids in some shape, form, or fashion. We compete for him. And it's just like, he's pissed, he's disappointed, but he wasn't negative at all. Yeah. And when I finally got around to the other side of the mat, and he's like, you know what not to do next time. It's like, that's cool, man. Like, we both know I fucked up, but
he did. There's I think one of the a moment that'll always stand out for me was I had a match. This one I was it was a brown belt. It's a brown belt. I'm trying to think where it was. It's not important where it was. I think it was in Nashville. And I get a guy in my lasso. And I think I was It doesn't matter. I'm gonna make all these excuses now. I was an age group lower and I was a weight class higher and all that bullshit. But
those are the fishtails.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So anyways, I get the guy in the lasso. Get him in the lasso. There we go. I get my, and it's a long. I mean, he's fighting quite a bit, so it's taking a while. So I get my sweep. I get my 2, and man, I'm just done. That's it.
You spent at this point.
Mentally. I don't know. It was not a good time. Mentally, I should have won the match.
Okay.
Right? And he comes over and he's like, "You okay? Like, kind of what happened? What happened?" And I go, I don't know. I just gassed. I got in a bad position. No, it wasn't. No, I did great. I mean, there was nothing. This was one of the rare times where I just. And it wasn't like I wasn't training right.
Because I wasn't there for that. That's why.
I think it was one of those things where it's like 1 minute left. I got my 2. I'm just a piece of shit laying here, and So, and you can tell that like he just looked at me. He's like, "Well, your lasso worked." He goes, "There's one good thing. The lasso works," and it is a good takeaway point. But it was just a good coaching time, because what I didn't need was another person drilling me for something that's just wrestling around in our pajamas.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he took that good thing where he's like, "You've legitimized what you teach to people.
Yeah.
You legitimized this thing that is your deal."
Yeah.
And that was wonderful. That was a good growth thing for me.
Yeah.
So
you have the proof of concept now.
Right.
You can take it back and go, "Okay, guys.
Right.
Hey, this might not have worked out 100% the way I wanted it, but this piece that I showed you Monday." That was awesome.
So the post psychology on his part, I mean, it's good, and I've tried to model myself after that too.
And that's the last piece I'll touch on before we move on. But you've kind of modeled yourself after your instructors, not just Professor Hedgie, but guys, you've taken the pieces from them. Yeah. But then it's like for me, me being under you, you've always been a rank ahead as I've gone. It's I had Professor Mike first, and then I moved to Professor Hedgie, and then I've trained with you so much. It's like there's those little pieces I've tried to grab from you guys. Yeah. So it's funny to hear somebody else say, "I took this from the guy above me." Yeah. And it's like, so when I talk to like Michael Wu, we'll have those discussions. It's like, "What do you like about this instructor? Or, this professor, or whatever." It's like, when I say things like, "Oh, I try to do this like Professor Joe," and it's like, "Yeah, you try, but you're not there yet." Because like we'll bust each other's chops and stuff.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. That's feedback. That's something I need to like take back and go. But it's like now I know I'm making my way towards you guys. Of you do this thing well, or he does this thing well. So like. I'm mimicking that as best as I can. So it's cool to hear somebody else do that with me.
Yeah. I mean, you're just trying to genetically engineer. You take the best and then you identify the real crap. Yeah. And you say, "I don't want to be like that, and I want to be like that," and integrating it takes time.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the
psychology of
the psychology of the opponent.
Yeah.
So I feel bad because I really should know this guy's name. He was a really good competitor. I haven't seen him compete, and he did MMA for a while, but he runs Phoenix MMA. You gotta know who I'm talking about. Out here in Nashville. He's a good guy, dude. Psychology-wise, probably one of the best guys on the small scene at getting into the psychology of the other opponent.
Right.
Dirty or clean?
100% sportsmanship, right?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And he is so damn good at it.
You're in it.
He is so good at it.
I mean, when you go to war, do you just shoot guns at each other? Yeah. No. There's all these other things you're doing to get in the mind of the other person.
Now, I don't do that on the kid level. I don't do that for...
No.
Yeah.
You can't. They're too...
Maybe I just...
there is a line, right? Okay, so...
There's a line. I think I've crossed it before.
There's a limit to what you can and can't do. And
I've crossed it before when I see a kid doing something that they should be doing. Yeah. And I'll say, "Hey, Bobby. Hey, Bobby. Don't worry about that silliness right there. That's not going to work there, buddy. So don't sweat it." And it's something legit. Yeah. Hoping that the kid goes, "Oh, okay, let me look over this." Do you have his? I just want to give him a shout out. This guy, he's a good guy. Hell of a coach. And in the corner, this is a guy you want in your corner. Guys, Well, I'll have to reach out to him at some point. I feel terrible. I don't remember his name, but
I feel bad too because I should know it.
Yeah. He's around everywhere. But anyways, on the small scene, he's probably one of the best guys, corner guys, that you hear from the psychology aspect of getting into the other opponent's head.
Right.
He did it RPG. He's done it anywhere he's at. So he's very good at what he does. A lot of people look at it as being dirty. Again, I think it's gamesmanship.
It is gamesmanship.
And I love it.
Like,
and I love it. And I want my athlete to face it. Because if my athlete can face that, then they're getting stronger. He's helping. Do you ever hear the story about BJ Penn? What was BJ Penn's first loss? It was to a guy from, I can't think of his name. So BJ Penn, when he first got to the UFC, was on a reign of terror.
Mm-hmm.
And he fought a guy, I cannot remember his name. He
I know
trained.
it's not Sean Shirt, but that's
No. He trained with Milicic.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name. If we had like a young, if we had like a person doing data in the back for us, he could look it up.
I know. Usually I come prepared with this, but we didn't.
So
we didn't prep it all.
He tells a story about how BJ Penn's corner had said something like, "He's down now, or you got him now."
Mm-hmm.
And he said that lit a fire under his ass, and I believe he knocked him out.
Okay.
So sometimes psychology with the wrong dog in the fight can go the wrong way.
Yeah, you get it.
And so it can work against you as it can work for you.
Right.
Let's see here for a second. Do we got?
He doesn't have an about, man. That's what's
He
going
did. Anyways, he was a really good competitor. I don't think he competes all that much now. Oh, they have a podcast.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, the point being that I really don't think. Let's see here. Finish.
Corey Robinson.
What's that, Corey? Yep, it's Corey Robinson.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So
sorry, Corey, if we apology.
But anyways, the psychology is also an aspect of coaching for your athlete and away from your athlete.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the other aspects that it's the wraparound again with the coaching back with the teaching. And that's the post competition.
Right.
Being able to analyze film, concentrate on those things that your athlete did well or didn't do well. And I find that most people watch film after film after film of victories.
Oh yeah. Nobody looks at the losses. Well, not nobody, but when you're looking at highlights on YouTube,
But even coaches,
right? They just want to see the wins. What'd you do right? What did you do right?
Right. Look at this. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look what Bobby did right.
Yeah.
And being able to develop for the teaching aspect those big holes that your athletes might have demonstrated. Like for our kids, I noticed that our kids and this is pretty general. So this wasn't like some major discovery on my part where she won a Nobel Prize or something. It's the fact that
Jiu-Jitsu prize.
Yeah, Nobel Jiu-Jitsu Prize. I'm like, every time we're in a pinning position, we're losing that match. Where are we? And that it's for kids. You can pretty much say, kid that gets the first takedown most likely going to win the match.
Sure, that's something that in wrestling was brought up.
Very true. Very true at the lower
first
levels,
points.
Right? Yeah. Oh, it's even true at college level, right?
Sure. Yeah.
To a lesser degree, but it's still true.
Yeah. The psychology part is.
Yeah. I mean, if you take Mighty Mites, do you know they actually still have a division called midget?
What? That's surprising. In 2023.
Joey wrestled midget all year long.
He's getting done with it. No, that is crazy.
I thought it was like a bad term.
Yeah, I mean, technically, in a lot of places, you're not supposed to say that word. But
well, in wrestling, it's A-okay. Because there's a division called midget.
It's also
midget
wrestling.
division.
That's the I don't give a fuck sport. So
Yeah. So
anyway,
and they ain't changing it.
Yeah, no.
He'll be a junior next year, but right now he's a midget.
He's a midget. Right.
So
tough little midget.
Where was I going for that? Oh yeah. So if you look at those juniors and midgets and Mighty Mite kind of divisions, you can say it was super high probability, 90 percentile, first takedown, winning the match, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to have a winning percentile for the first person to score. That lessens as you go up in experience, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed the other thing was it wasn't necessarily even the takedown. It was always the first score to a pinning position.
Right.
And we just weren't doing well in pinning positions, whether that was mount, side mount, whatever it may be. And so we went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, there's two things that we're going to work on. Because what would your first instinct be? Like, okay, every time my athlete gets mounted, he loses the match. Every time my athlete gets side control, he's losing the match. So the natural thing to work on when you get back would be.
So I know what your answer is expected.
Yeah.
But for me.
No, expected. Give me the expected one.
Okay. So yeah, I'm assuming you're saying working on that position.
Yeah, working on escaping that position,
yeah,
right? But what is the real thing you should be working on?
I'm gonna work on something different that I'm better at. Is generally my thought is if we're gonna be lazy about it, is my game. I hate being in mount on top, right? I hate having that dominant position,
right?
Just because my game that doesn't cater to me, right. Guillotines are really hard to get from mount, generally for the way I set them up.
Right.
I grab the chin, blah, 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 blah. So for me, I'm like, I'm going to be lazy. I'll just go let you, or, take the sweep, and then I'm just going to go for my submission.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So to me, it's a lazy man's way of getting what I want in a position that I'm not really comfortable or may not be good in. Right. But the right answer is I should get really good at mount. And that way, when I'm in that dominant position, I'm being more dominant and I'm winning that position.
Well, yeah, our approach was, yes, of course we have to work on those escapes because when we're in that, but we're going to work on the step before that, preventing ourselves from getting to that position. So
that's a Professor Hedgie thing. Don't get there.
Yeah, don't get there. You've already got there. You listen.
Kind of lost at that point.
Yeah. It's tough. I understand the lighter weight divisions. People flip around like two wildcats in the alley, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But at the heavier positions, that doesn't happen. So the prevention of getting there is absolutely key. So it's being able to look at that film and coming up with a good type of strategy to approach whatever the chinks in the armor might have been.
Right.
So all in all, man, there's a lot that goes into coaching that's not even in the realm of teaching time management, being able to translate movement into words that people understand.
Right.
The explanation, demonstration. Did you ever hear that before? The explanation, demonstration, practice, critique, John Wooden's approach.
I feel like
I talk about it a lot.
Yeah, I think you've talked about it on this podcast specifically.
Yeah. And I make those mistakes all the time when I'm with like a more seasoned athlete. I'll just say, and I'm like, oh, Jimmy Christmas. No.
Yeah.
So that's just, they need explanation. Why are we doing this? Demonstration. They got to see it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Then they need to practice it, and then it needs to be correction.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's usually praise, critique.
Yeah.
I'm not into the praise, critique. I'll give you one praise, and then we'll get to the critique. We don't need three, but they call it the PPPC.
Okay.
Approach to coaching. And to me,
some people throw another P on the end of that. They put the.
You think there's four?
They put, well, not necessarily four, but it can be praise, critique, praise.
You're right. It is. You got to sandwich. It's called sandwiching it. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you can see how close I follow that. I usually look at their face and they're about ready to cry. That's when I give them another praise.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
I guess that goes back to some of the masochists. They just want critique.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta cater.
Yeah. And I find the people that say they want the critique the most. This is going to medical students.
Okay.
They're like, Dr. Spinell, please help me with what I'm doing wrong. I'm like, you don't want to know because you're going to start crying.
Yeah.
Because it's everything. The ones that want it the most sometimes can't take it.
Yeah.
So
the tough love is hard to swallow.
So definitely the praise, critique, praise is incredibly important with individuals.
Sure.
But yeah, that's all those things with the teaching. Man, they're just not the same thing with coaching. But for some reason, like we said before, those two things take a huge crossover.
Yeah.
So, you got anything to add in regards to all of that?
Man,
of mental masturbation. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. This is getting flagged on YouTube. We said midgets, and it's anyway.
Not kid appropriate.
Yeah. So no, man, I think you kind of hit all the points. Like I like that you and I have a different approach as to what those two things are. Kind of agree, right? At the end of the day, like what things are. But, just differences in...
Differences because the frameworks are different.
Right, yeah.
We're dealing with two different groups of people.
Right.
Yeah. I have my guys that don't necessarily compete.
Sure. You do, yeah.
But it's not the majority
yeah.
of when I'm in there and when I'm excited about doing stuff.
Yeah. And I think if you asked our students, like, what is Professor Joe to you? What is Coach Anthony to you? Most of them are going to say, especially the kids, obviously, are going to say, well, you're the competition coach, right? Like, you're not just professor, you are the competition.
Oh, yeah, I can't do some regular kids classes anymore.
Right, yeah.
I just can't do it.
And I really enjoy the competition classes that I filled in, like, for you before.
Good kids,
Those
right?
kids are awesome.
Those kids are good.
Yeah. They like me for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, because they don't want me there. I told them first day that the occasional times I do have to teach the kids classes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just jumping in to help out, whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. This is my first. I just tell them, like, I'm the competition coach.
Yeah.
This isn't. We're not playing games.
Right.
At the end of class.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna spar at the end of class.
Right. We're here to sweat.
And I'm not gonna be super nice. But you guys can come talk to me. You know, I walk around like a gorilla, and I sound like a gorilla, and probably smell like a gorilla. But you come talk, but we can't play around. If you play around, and there's this big trend, and even there's a lot of well-known coaches that are into this trend of don't discipline when you're coaching for skill acquisition. You know, back in the day, it's like, if you guys aren't listening, all right, push a position, just stay there.
Yeah, I've wanted to do that so many times.
Well, there's a big push to get away from that. Even on the training, I had to do these training modules for scholastic coaching. You know, the middle school and high school, you have to do these training modules, and they are so against.
Negative reinforcement.
They'll say it's if you're disciplining with exercise, you're discouraging the athlete from wanting to do exercise in the future. So
I can see how somebody who sits
back. I can also see it being looked at as abusive, because it's the equivalent of I'm going to create pain for you because you're not doing what I want you to do.
Sure.
And it shows a lack of ability to coach. You know, if you have to revert to that, then you failed somewhere else. I get it.
Yeah.
I still think there's a small place for it.
Small place, I do agree.
Small.
Like I said, I've wanted to do it. I've not pulled that out, but I've threatened it before. I'm like, man, if you guys are just gonna giggle for 20 minutes, like, we're just gonna do burpees.
I just say we're either gonna get smart, because we're doing skill. We're doing skill acquisition. We're either gonna get smart or we're gonna get strong. Yeah. And that's okay. We can pick which one it is.
Yes. Yeah. It's not
necessarily part of the training,
but you're obviously not focused on the one aspect that we're here for.
Right.
So let's make use of everybody's time, and you're gonna get better in some aspects.
And very rarely do I have to do that with my serious athletes.
Sure. Yeah.
I think there has been. I can't think of where I've done it with any competition kid that have really needed it on a consistent level to say, listen, we're either going to get stronger or we're going to get smart.
Yeah.
And we have done other things like sprints, and if you guys go on the wrong count, then we have another to do.
Right.
That's just part of the game. If you screw up and you get your arm caught, you get caught in arm lock. This is the same idea.
Yeah.
If you're not mentally strong and you listen to the count and you go off on the wrong count, we got another sprint to do. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's the game, you know, and that's part of that mental buildup. But I think it's a tool that's overutilized and shows poor coaching when it's used too much.
Sure, if that's your go-to,
that's not
punishment,
good.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's not good. That means you're failing somewhere else.
Right.
Communication and respect, and it's hard because those group classes, those ones where you got a bunch of kids in there that may or may not actually want to be there.
Right.
It takes a talented teacher, coach for skill acquisition, to really keep that class going.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I had to pull my son out, right? Like he's about to be 5, so I'm gonna throw him back in very soon. But he was just emotionally not ready, Just because he's just a goofball, right? Yeah. Which is great. I love him to death. Great, he's a goofball. But it's like, hey, dude, for this hour or even less at his age, 45 minutes, whatever that class is or was.
Right.
I just need you to pay attention. I need you to do what we're doing.
Right.
So for him, it's like, I want to run around. I want to play. I want to do this. And it's like, now you're wasting your time, your partner's time, because generally it happens to even out. Like there's 12 kids. So now one kid's got to go into another group or sit by himself. And then I'm pulled off to the side because now I'm disciplining you. So it's like, for me, it's okay, I'm going to pull you up because you're just not ready. I can't do that with a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I can't go, hey man, all right, just go sit on the side. Because then it's like, well, why'd you pull my kid out? It's like, he's sitting on the side. Well, what am I paying you for? Because now a customer's not getting what they're asking for.
Right.
So it's like, that's where we have to balance. Are you serious or not serious? How am I going to approach you? Okay, well, this other kid's not serious either. So now you're partners. Now go giggle in the corner. Whatever.
And that's why I'm trying to get out my series for BJJ for parents, for the real little guys. Mm-hmm. What games can you play when you're on the living room floor that are games you can do for 5 minutes,
sure,
2-3 minutes,
yeah,
but yet are going to help prepare that 4 or 5-year-old for when they are on the mat.
Yeah.
And there's so many games and there's so many movements that you can teach them that's going to make their time when they do get on the mat so much easier.
Yeah.
So let's see where we're at right now. Okay, we're at an hour, so I got
nice. Okay.
I got just a couple more questions.
Yeah. All right, let's knock it out.
So we talked about teaching, coaching, and somehow parenting got into this.
Yeah, we're both parents.
And I think most of the people that I've talked to that listen to us are our friends, they're local people here in Nashville, and they're obviously older practitioners that either have kids or they have grandkids.
Right.
I'm not having like the 18-year-old Berimbolo masters like listen to this, right?
Yeah.
Jackson
listen to us?
Eli does.
Oh, Eli does. Hey, shout out to Eli.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's like, you didn't have clay on there.
Oh, yes. That's awesome. He's asking, like, hey, let me fix your guest list here.
Yeah,
awesome.
And I know what he listens to podcast-wise because it's on, we share our thing. So,
okay. Yeah.
You know, he's listening to like the B Team, like Supplement podcast. I'm like, holy crap, this is not, I don't know if this is good for him to be listening to. Oh, we all got to grow up some way, right?
He's got a good role model. He'd be fine.
Yeah, I hope so. So, you've heard Craig's podcast?
Yeah, I love Craig.
So, you know, the guy that's, his friend that's on there that's doing it with him, Freddie, he used to train here in Nashville, and dude, great guy. When Jax, before he had his license, he picked Jackson up to go train out at Henzo's.
Really? Okay.
Such a cool guy,
That's
man.
awesome, dude.
Yeah, such a cool guy. I'm so happy he's out there doing their thing.
Yeah.
Their audio needs to improve.
Yeah, I mean,
but the content.
Yeah.
Craig can put his name on a piece of shit and it would sell right now.
That is true.
He's
so anti-Gordon that he has, just trying not to use the term D-riders, just because they're so anti-Gordon that they jump to Craig, Team Craig or B Team, you know. But he's hilarious. His shirts. Great. Have you seen his newest shirt? You know, Gordon's got the tattoo that says respect everyone, fear no one.
Yeah.
So it's a shirt and it has like a little jester, like simple icon, and it says respect no one, fear everyone. I'm like, what a troll, man.
He's so much fun.
He's the best second
so much fun
ever.
Yeah. and they got to do something because we need characters.
Oh, for sure.
We need characters like him.
Yeah. Look at Conor McGregor. Brought so many eyes to the UFC just because of how crazy he is. Yeah. You know. Now, you don't have to like him, but he brought in numbers. He brought eyes to the sport.
And when he fights, was he fighting Chandler?
Yeah, Michael Chandler.
That's gonna sell. I mean, that's gonna sell.
It's a payday for Michael. Yeah, great for him. You know, but that's an easy guaranteed money in your pocket.
You think it's easy? You think it's gonna be easy?
No. I'm saying like as far as
do you think it's gonna be an easy fight for him?
I don't think so. I honestly, no disrespect to Michael Chandler because he doesn't live
far from us
and he would murder me in like 2 seconds. Yeah. But I think Chandler thinks he's better than he is sometimes because he was really good, right? And Conor was really good at 45 because Conor hits hard and he would cut so much weight that like that was his prime spot. And as he's gained weight, I don't think, and gotten older, he's moved out of that prime. I think Michael's the same way. Michael's moved on past his prime. He's going to fight a non-prime Conor. So I think it's kind of an even match, but I wouldn't count Conor out. No, it's not like a Dustin Poirier kind of
so
thing.
you got $10,000 that you put it on.
If I have 10 grand to put it on.
10 grand. Fuck it, 100 grand.
Shit, if I have 100 grand, I'd put it on Conor. I would. I'd put it on Conor. I'm so sorry, Michael Chandler, but I would put it on Conor.
Really?
I think, now, I haven't watched Tough.
What are you basing that on?
The psychology.
Okay, forget the parents. I was going to ask whether or not you should get your kids to train or make them compete. Forget that question. Let's end with...
We've covered that before on a podcast.
I have early Alzheimer's.
Yeah. We've talked about
so what are you basing
So Connor is the...
Not to put you on the spot.
No, I'm fine. Yeah, that's what we're here for. We're here to talk. And for people to hear my opinion and go, that guy's an idiot. I'm going to listen to the doctor. Anyway, so... Yeah, we're smart guy, and you haven't done this. Connor's mental game, his psychology that he plays, plays a huge part in every single fight. Aldo's the greatest example of that. Got in his head so much that he abandoned everything that he knew and got knocked out. What was it, 13 seconds or whatever?
Something crazy.
Something stupid that never should have happened. That fight was so much in Aldo's favor that I think that he could have won that had he not listened to anything Connor said. Michael Chandler, I haven't watched Tough. I don't know if even the newest season's come out yet. I
don't even know how you watch it.
Yeah, exactly. But whatever. I'm not for the drama. I hate, this isn't the 90s and Real World came out and we're like, oh, what's this new thing? I don't care about that anymore. But the way Connor gets in people's heads, I don't know how Michael's going to respond to that, especially on the tour of, really, your wife's in my DMs kind of shit, because Chandler seems like a big family guy, at least on social media,
I think so.
So as soon as Connor starts making, because he's going to make digs and jabs and
sure.
I don't know how low blow he will go, but Chandler has, they've adopted, kids, so who knows if McGregor can go that route.
The chopping block.
So so that's the thing. I'm like, if Connor plays dirty, which to me that's a dirty version of the psychology of attacking family.
That crosses the line for you.
To me, that crosses the line. Yeah. Like, you should be able to talk shit to me and say all these things to me and not involve family. But he's making millions, I'm not. So who am I to say that's stupid, man? You shouldn't do that. Obviously, it works for him. It gets him paid. It gets the people that he fights paid.
Yeah, I think it's. Do you remember there was an event in Austin where there were two white belts from competing gyms going against each other, BJJ event. One of the white belts wins the match by an advantage, something like that, whatever. He stands up and he flips off his competitor's professor.
Oh.
The professor kicks one of the chairs, goes out on the mat, goes after the kid.
Really?
Who got in trouble for that?
I'm going to assume that the professor or the coach got in trouble for that.
Yep. Yeah. The professor got in trouble, got banned.
Of course, because he lost his shit and he...
Right.
Yeah.
Who was in the wrong, though?
Both of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Who could you have just made in the wrong solely?
Oh, all that coach had to do is say, thanks, buddy. We'll get you next time.
And that kid would have been banned.
Would have been banned, yeah.
Right, but everybody forgot about that.
Of course they did.
So take that into Connor and Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
It becomes dirty if Chandler doesn't respond to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine this jackass said something about you were a kid with special needs.
Yeah.
And you just laugh.
Yep. And you go, okay, cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's all he's
good character, bro.
Yeah. But
who becomes the bad guy now? Oh. Now, if Chandler responds to it.
Yeah. That's the case.
Then it just validated the low blow.
Yeah.
And now it becomes dirty. And now it becomes clean.
Same thing with Dustin. He didn't have to respond about his wife. He didn't have to say a single word about that.
No.
But as he feeds into it, regardless of how much.
A bad reaction, it negates, it always negates the prior reaction or the prior, the inciting event.
Yeah.
So if you have the wherewithal, which I actually think Chandler does, I think he has the ability to look at him and just shake his head and say, you're a terrible individual.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. I hope he does it too. Yeah. So you're saying, okay, so the psychology of it, you're saying probability wise,
McGregor has the
advantage.
From a psychology standpoint, McGregor has the upper hand. How Michael will respond to that is how I feel like the fight will go. If he goes, yeah, cool, that's great, man, that's awesome, thanks for the payday. I'd be like, oh, Chandler's got him.
Would you change your bet at that point?
Probably. If he legit stone cold goes, that's cool, thanks for the payday, I would 100% switch my money.
Okay.
Because I know he's not in his head at all. He does not care.
But you think probability he's going to get under his skin?
I feel like he will.
Okay.
I feel because that's.
What about the skill set now? Taking
taking all that out. Michael's an amazing athlete, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's maybe not in his prime, but he's
enough to whoop my ass.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's in one of the for his age. Yeah. Looking at that group, this dude is an athlete.
Yeah.
100% through and through. He's not skipping. He's not having cheat days. This guy's
he's not eating Cheetos.
Yeah. Not eating Cheetos. Not eating a pack of Oreos on a Saturday. Like
Sounds
he's
delicious.
not doing any of that. You know.
Right.
So as an athlete, I think Chandler has every chance to knock him out. Now, does he have the boxing chops that, you know, like maybe Poirier does or somebody like that?
It could be dangerous if he's standing.
It could be. Now, when he gets into the ground, we all know how that story goes.
I think it goes one way different at a higher weight level. Because don't forget that McGregor fought the guy from Team Alpha.
Chad Mendes.
Chad Mendes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I don't know Chad Mendes' wrestling pedigree. I don't think it's even on the same level as Chandler.
It's not.
But he was known as a wrestler. He seemed to dominate at using primarily wrestling, control from top.
But he didn't have anything else as an arsenal. Like,
right.
he would take him down,
right.
But it's like he had nothing for McGregor after that. Chandler, if and when he gets him down, I don't think McGregor has the ability to fight him off for whatever. Is it a 15-minute match or is it
Oh, it'll probably be a 5-round
Probably
match,
a 5-round, right? It has to be.
Well, it has to be whatever McGregor wants.
That's awesome.
Because he's gonna, if he wants to say no elbows, it'd probably be no elbow. You know what I mean? It's just, he's gonna dictate the rules.
But if I'm McGregor also, I want a 15-minute match. I don't want to get slippery and then, have to fight a guy who, as I start to get winded, which we know McGregor's known for.
He's going to at a higher weight. He's coming off of an injury. And we're not talking simple injury.
Yeah.
That was...
How much juice is in that man's body, though?
Well, over the last 6 months, apparently he can't have any testing-wise unless he somehow, yeah, that's a good point.
There's ways around that. There's totally ways around that.
I'll tell you what, man, when we were in... we went to World's Masters the year that McGregor fought Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
So Masters tournament was the same exact weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we just, not by design, we happened to be staying at the Encore at that time. And that's where McGregor was having his after party.
Mm.
He got some shady Irish dudes that are his like entourage, bro.
Oh yeah.
Shady.
That's where you get the cocaine from, right?
Well, I don't know, man, but I saw some very well dressed, overweight, bearded, and nasty looking Irishmen with some beautiful women around them with very expensive jewelry.
Yeah.
Hanging out there. It is just a little shady.
Sure.
Shady. So he's got some connections. So
that doesn't surprise me one bit.
Maybe he's got the money to pay off for those things, but
I mean, between all his business ventures and UFC payouts, I mean,
yeah,
dude was listening.
He's doing well.
Yeah,
he's doing well. Let's see how fast he loses it.
If he hasn't lost it at this point, man, I'm actually really surprised.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, if he hasn't, is it ability for? Does he have the ability to lose it?
Yeah.
Like what did Chris Rock say? Like rich and wealthy.
Yeah.
Rich, you could lose a summer weekend in Vegas.
Right. Yeah. Wealthy. So
if Bill Gates woke up with Oprah's money, he'd jump out the fucking window.
I like to think McGregor hired somebody and said, "All right,
yeah, I'm sure.
Hold my cash," and then they give him like, here's how many ever thousands just to go be an idiot. Yeah. But we're gonna keep the rest of your cash safe. I would like to think in his head he was smart enough to do that before he started doing all the other shit. But who knows?
All right, man. Well, hey, listen, we're supposed to do this more often.
We are
every 2 years. All right.
Yeah.
So.
We have plenty of content. We have plenty of stuff to talk about.
Content.
Neither one of us want to shut up.
Our next podcast will be talking about less than the teaching, coaching. It's going to be actually a concept of learning.
Okay.
And the basic concepts of learning and how those differ from when you ask, because it is a pretty popular question that you hear from people from seminars, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You have a seminar and, hey, we're opening up the questions and how do I get better faster?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about some ways of looking at learning that you most likely have not entertained at this point, and I think folks will find it pretty enlightening and hopefully very valuable. So until then, check out our YouTube channel, Old Dog BJJ. Content is going up daily, so we have daily content going up. We do long videos about twice a week. Watch for our blog posts, Instagram postings, and really hope that you guys enjoyed us coming back, and we'll make this this much more consistent for you all. Got
Yes.
anything else to say, Coach?
No, man. Keep
All
training.
right, keep training.